studios. This is After 9 with Scott and Kat.
And a happy motherfucking Friday.
How are you, Kat?
I'm great, thank you. Yourself?
Good. The weekend is here, and there is a lot going on, and we're going to try and jam as much into this episode of After 9 as we can. Although we should tell you, we are going to be off on Monday. Monday is Truth and Reconciliation Day, and what happens is they made it a federal holiday because they didn't bother to consult with the provinces on this, and some of the provinces didn't opt in. The provinces feel we've got enough holidays. I think they're dead wrong and a bunch of assholes. I think we should have many more days off. I don't know why we haven't made Truth and Reconciliation Day an actual holiday, so now we're in a scenario where federal employees get the day off. Mm-hmm. Provincial employees or people not regulated by the federal government don't get the day off. That means schools are open, but banks are closed and some government offices are closed, even if they're not federal government. The government will take any government holiday off if they can. It's a weird one where some are off and many are not off. It's strange.
It is strange, but I mean, and overall, when it comes to that, like, it's always nice to be on the same page when it comes to that. But it's also a weird one to argue that you want off. Are you wanting it off for the right reasons, right? It is Truth and Reconciliation Day. We are not going to be here, full transparency, on Monday. We are one of the people that are stepping aside because we have a day to listen that's going to be airing on our radio stations. So that's why we're not going to be in for our shows. But it's not one of those long weekends where like, we're celebrating this long weekend. That's not.
Let's get a 2-4 and get ripped.
Yeah, exactly. It's not one of those days. It is most definitely meant to be a day to reflect on what we can do better and many different things. Like in school, for example, when they're little, they're learning Orange Shirt Day is about being kind to others and not needing to worry about where you come from. All those morals and values that we hope that we instill in our children, but they go above and beyond on Orange Shirt Day.
Got it. Okay.
I love it because I get to actually take my kids to school. I never get to do that.
It's weird.
Ever. So I love that day that I get to do it.
When you work morning radio, that's just one of the sacrifices.
Yeah.
So when you get a day when you can, yeah, absolutely. That's great. One thing I would like to put out there, Unicode, you know those people that create the emojis that work across all phones? Unicode has done great work in creating a flag emoji for every country, mainly every country. There's still no Haudenosaunee or First Nations flag, and I don't understand why they don't get on that. So maybe if you're looking for a cause or something to take up for Truth and Reconciliation Day, send a tweet or a Facebook message or something to Unicode. This is the global authority on these things. Let's get a Haudenosaunee flag, because I think that's an obvious omission that we could correct on Monday.
I totally agree. I'm sure it'll be like one of many things that they get asked about. Because that's a problem with Unicode being so diverse and having so many new emojis through the years, right? Remember when it used to just be like the couple was a man and a woman, for example. For a long time, it was a man and a woman. And then it was a man and a woman and a baby.
Now there's a man pregnant with a baby.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, they've come a long way in certain areas, but not in others. And almost at a certain point, you wonder if they go, I wish we just didn't have people. I just wish none of our emojis had people. Like, we just decided, let's do animals because there's less people being mad at us. But at the same time, yeah, absolutely, they should include that.
There should be a Haudenosaunee flag.
Yeah.
I want to play something for you because I've never been in this scenario, and I kind of wish I was. I kind of want to do this. This is a man from Florida who's talking about his experience with Hurricane Helene.
I've always stayed on my boats all my life, and I just want to try to save my boat and save my property here. And we'll see if it's the right choice or not.
You've ridden the storm out before. I know we spoke to you during Idalia last year, and at the time you said that was the worst storm you'd ever encountered. That was an 8 to 9 foot of storm surge, and I know here they're expecting up to 20. Bobby, what is your biggest worry tonight?
Well, I mostly worry about the ropes breaking and, and or the cleats pulling out of the deck or something catastrophic like that. I believe the boat will stay together. It always has. And so I'm counting on everything being all right. The wind is here now. It is rough. And I'm assuming it's going to pick up, but it's already there. It looks like hurricane force winds to me.
You dumb hillbilly.
Wait a minute.
Get out of there, you asshole.
Is he hoping to just chill on his boat? within his hurricane?
So this guy, his major concern here is hoping that the boat stays together and that the ropes hold, because he is tied off his boat and he's going to stay on his boat right through a Category 4 hurricane. I haven't heard from this guy since that interview aired last night. I think that was CNN.
Talk about going down with the ship.
But I mean, you're on a boat. Move. The ocean is huge.
If that's your relative, like, you know people like this, though. You know stubborn ass people. We all do. I know stubborn ass people. And I bet you all of that guy's family and friends have tried. And they're like, well, fuck it. We're leaving Jim Bob here, whatever his name is. We're leaving him here. Nothing we can do. I'm staying with the ship. Fine. You know what? It's his choice. They cannot actually physically force you to leave. Am I correct?
No. It's a mandatory
can't.
evacuation, but it's not really mandatory.
Right. So they can't arrest this guy and take him into a custody of sorts.
If they felt he was in danger, maybe they could make
might.
a case for it. It might even be, we're going to temporarily detain you for your own safety, and you're perfectly free to go as soon as the storm passes.
And they do that when people are suicidal. This to me is like, I know it's not like he assumes it's going to happen, that he will get hurt or, God forbid, killed. But at a certain point, I feel like someone's got to step in here and be like, we can. Like, we know where he is. We know he's here. I didn't know that was happening. Wow.
Listen, it's a boat. Dude, you don't have to tie it up to the dock. Just head south. The hurricane is coming towards you. Head south down the coast. You go and chill in like Boca Raton or something like that, and then you go back up tomorrow to where you were. You don't need to tie up and hang on through a Category 4 hurricane.
Yeah, I wonder why that choice. I mean, maybe he thought it would be worse if he tried to ride his boat and potentially go through it by accident?
It was nothing more than a light breeze. It was sunny south of Tampa. Get out of there. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yesterday, we did get more details about this open-air concert venue that Premier Ford was announcing as we were recording yesterday. Live Nation is behind this, as we suspected. They've already sold the naming rights. Rogers Stadium.
Oh, they have a lot of money, though, Rogers, don't they?
Seems like it, yeah. Hey, does anybody else concerned that this is going to get very confusing when we have Rogers Stadium and Rogers Center?
Yeah, I wondered about that as well.
How many people are going to buy tickets for the Oasis concert at Rogers Center only to find out, oh crap, it was Rogers Stadium, not Rogers Center?
Because we've seen this before, but it's different cities at least. So at least it's separated. Like there's Rogers Place, for example. We all know that is not even near Rogers Center.
Yeah, these are about 20 kilometers apart.
Right?
Named the same thing.
I feel like people will make that mistake, maybe especially those who come from far, right? Like, I mean, you're going to know to look for it. It's same with Bud Gardens and Bud Stage. Right? Like, let's equate it to that, which, by the way, Bud Gardens is soon no longer going to be Bud Gardens.
Yeah, a bank bought it.
They're
or a
changing
mutual fund
it.
Company.
At a certain point, I wondered about that too, though. I wondered how many people are like, oh, it's a Bud, easy peasy. And then they head the complete opposite direction on the 401 to head to whatever show it is and go, oh shit, it was Gardens. Turn around.
You know, let's be honest. We live in a world where people only half pay attention.
Yeah.
That's why we end up all the time with people that end up over in the UK when they meant to book a flight to London, Ontario.
Or Sydney, Nova Scotia, and they were supposed to go to Sydney, Australia.
Stuff like that.
You're absolutely right. So I wondered about that too. That was one of my first thoughts first thought was, wow, Rogers has a lot of money, clearly. But second was, oh, that's kind of confusing. The third thought I had on it was, it's a big venue, by the way. Did you say how many people?
50.
50,000.
35,000 seats, 15,000 standing room. That's as big as Rogers Center,
So-
where the Blue Jays play.
I wondered how it was going to work in that area in terms of people coming from far away, because that's a big enough venue where you're going to have big acts. I think we all realize that.
It's a stadium size. So, yeah, I mean, Oasis, for example, is going to play there. They haven't announced it yet, but they're going to play the new Rogers Stadium.
Perfect. And that's a great example of people will probably come far to see them. So they're going to want what? A hotel. Mm-hmm. Around that, I'm wondering how it's going to affect the airport prices. Because right around Downsview there, I'm trying to think the closest spots. Yes, there's obviously some inns and other places. They're going to be a little dodgy, but there's other places around there you can stay. But whenever I go to Downsview for anything, typically I either go up to the casino resort, but that's because there's other things there. But that's also, the prices on that are going to skyrocket too, because they've got their great concert venue there too.
Right.
And then the airport hotels, I'm thinking more people are going to occupy those.
See, I think it's going to go the other way. I think people are going to continue to stay downtown Toronto.
You think so?
Because Downsview is right on the subway line.
Don't fucking do it though. Oh, okay, Subway maybe. Don't drive though.
No.
Like I took an Uber. It was awful. Like I took an Uber. It was supposed to be like, it was a 7-minute or 7 to 10 kilometer trek. I was at the Canadian Casino Resort area, roughly, and I went to downtown to go to Bar Chef. It took like an hour to get there.
Oh, God.
Traffic was horrendous.
That's because the tunnel's not built yet.
Once it is.
50 years, you'll be able to go very expeditiously. It'll be great. People are still shitting all over that tunnel idea.
I know.
But you know what, though? One of the nice things to come out of this conversation about the tunnel that we've been having for the last couple of days is it's nice that people are starting to wake up to the fact that we have a completely underused highway just a few kilometers north of the 401 in the 407. And now I'm hearing people of all political stripe, liberals, New Democrats, conservatives, they're all saying it. Doug, just buy out the 407 contract. 75 years or less left on it. They're making only $144 million a year off of it. Do the math, buy them out, and we get our highway back.
I don't know why. Has he been asked straight up? Like, is he answering the question or is he deflecting the question?
I don't know, because he's he's principled and that's good. He says, folks, we're going to get the tunnel built. Okay, I admire the determination, but I'd also like to have a conversation about the perfectly obvious alternative to spending hundreds of billions of dollars on the tunnel. Why don't you just spend a couple billion and buy out the 407? I don't know if a reporter is going to ask him. I'd like that to happen, and I'd like to hear the reason for why that's not being considered.
And that would be a quicker solution, too, as we mentioned. But we went into detail about that. You guys know how we feel about it. I hope that at least he answers. I just want him to at least answer that question.
Me too. California families that post on social media and use their children in the video are now legally required to set aside some of the profits for their kids.
I like it.
California Governor Gavin Newsom says he signed 2 measures aimed at expanding state laws protecting child performers from financial abuse. The laws entitled Child Influencers to a percentage of earnings based on how often they appear on video. The new regulations in California mirror legislation that's now in place in Illinois. So do you ever use your kids in your TikTok videos?
So for me personally, no, I don't put my kids on social at all. I'm at the state, not that I'm like totally against it till they turn 18. I'm not like that, but I need them to fully understand what's happening, right? And I'm still at the point where it's teetering with my oldest now. She's 7 years old. She understands that mommy is online and people know me from online. She knows that there's TikTok. She knows about all these other things. So she does want to be on it. Like she's like, put me in a video. Let's do something. I've said no. I think she's too young for that right now. That's my choice. I don't want to put them on social media. Again, I'm choosing that route. That's my choice for me. And to each their own. If you want to put your kids out there on social media, just be very careful who's following you because there's fucking creeps out there, man.
Really creepy people.
There's gross people. You might not even realize that you're putting out too much information about your kid, all those things, right? So for me personally, I've made the choice not to. But what I will say about this is I really, really like this law. I think too about the YouTube kids. So I've got my kids follow certain accounts. They have it's called It's called YouTube Kids, okay? So parents, if you don't have your kids on YouTube Kids, make sure that it's on YouTube Kids because that's the best parental control you can have. YouTube, anything and everything one is out there. So be mindful of that. When it comes to YouTube Kids, I can monitor who they subscribe to and who they don't. But I understand that they talk with their friends about liking to follow this person or that person, and they're children. Like these are children. And sometimes it's just and sometimes it's educational, and that's fine. Like I do try my best to make sure it is. But I wonder about those kids and those families. It's the parents leading the way, but the kid stars in the show, right? So it's like the kid showing you her room. And obviously a lot of this shit's sponsored. So the kid will take you through, I'll explain it to you because you probably have never looked at kids' YouTube videos. So the kid will, for example, take the kids watching through their room and, oh, look, I've got Anna and Elsa Frozen Castle here, right? Like that kind of thing. Obviously a lot of those things are sponsored and paid for. But I always wondered about those kids because it's not the kids profiting off of it. Well, you hope it is, right? You hope the parents do the right thing, but you can't be sure where the parents sit with that. When they have over 3, 4 million, 5 million subscribers, and some of these channels, yes, they're that high. They end up with their own toy lines at Toys R Us and Walmart because they're so popular with kids. You have to ask the question of what's happening behind the scenes with the parents.
Who's making the money?
Exactly.
Where's that money going?
So the fact that this is in play, and yes, it would count for YouTube as well, is really important, I think. And I think more places than California, even though that's where I'm sure a good majority of those kid influencers hail from, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, or elsewhere, that's a lot of them will reside there. Great. But let's make this across the board. Put this across the United States and Canada for that matter. Sure, we're not as bad for it, I think, here. However, yes, there are accounts that you've seen where kids are the star. It always gives me a little bit of ick, to be honest with you. I don't love it.
I just don't know how enforceable this is. The way it used to work is if you were exploited by your parents to make money and they did make money off of it, when you got older, you just sued them and probably got 10 times more than whatever they're required to allocate for you. And I don't know if anybody is ever going to get an honest number out of their parents on how much they made. So I think there was other ways to do it. I'm not big on more laws just for the sake of having them. In this case, I would really just rather we keep kids off the internet until they're old enough to have their own accounts and do their own videos. Hey, if you're just out having a nice family fun day and the kid ends up in a video, that's not the end of the world. But if you're an influencer, which seems to be becoming a fairly popular occupation these days, if you're an influencer who tries to sell clothing and you put your kids in there as models and that video goes viral, you would have to give a cut to the kids now. I just think there was another way to do it. I don't know what it was yet, but again, leave the kids out of it.
I mean, I do tend to agree with you. Or if you're doing it, make sure that you can make sure to keep an eye on it. There's other people too who are accused of, and you can look into it on your own time. I won't go into detail about it, but there's a lot of people who are accused of kind of exploiting their kids in all the wrong ways, not just for money. But anyway, it is one of those.
People do it for welfare. They do it for all sorts of shit.
All kinds of reasons, right? So we just hope it's for the good reasons. Keep your eye on what your kids are watching too, and you'll know what I'm talking about.
Let's clear up a couple of rumors here. Costco wants to make it very clear. They don't sell baby oil, and they certainly didn't sell P. Diddy 1,000 bottles of it. They must really hate the idea that they're getting brought up thanks to Diddy's lawyer in conversations about freak offs, because Costco doesn't want any part of it.
I'm going to say it. This guy seems like a fucking idiot. Like, he just seems like, the lawyer seems like he didn't even read up on the case. He just took it because he saw that there was money. Honestly, what he told reporters asking him questions about the baby oil is hilarious and wrong in so many ways. The first claim was, there's a Costco around the corner. Okay, from Diddy's place? Okay, from everywhere? Sure. So, people stock up in America. Nobody fucking stocks up on baby oil.
Not that much.
And then he went on to say, when it comes to consensual adult fun, I don't think he realizes what this case is. The point of it is that it was not consensual and there was a lot of drugs involved behind the scenes to make people cooperate the way he wanted them to. Does he understand that?
I don't know that he does. This lawyer seems not... Is he a real lawyer?
I don't...
Or like a TV lawyer?
I think there's wires crossed here. I really do. When it comes to what Costco said, though, yes, they did issue a statement yesterday confirming that they do not sell baby oil. And in other words, keep our name out of this investigation, please, for the love of God. They don't sell baby oil in any of their stores. And if someone did roll up with a cart full of baby oil, flag them.
Yeah. You may have been following along. We're now less than 40 days away from when the U.S. votes. And one of the things that came up is Kamala Harris talked about something that many people can brag about. They used to work at McDonald's. Well, that's a little suspicious because McDonald's came out and said, no, she never worked here. And then the reporter said, well, there must be some sort of a mistake. She's running for president. She says she used to work at McDonald's. McDonald's checked, and they have absolutely no record of Kamala Harris ever working at McDonald's. It looks like she lied. So she did an interview with MSNBC the other night, and MSNBC asked her about it. Listen to this.
Your opponent almost every day seems to be talking about this. So I just want to ask you yes or no. At any point in your life, have you served 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, working at a McDonald's? Yes or no? That's it.
I have.
Okay. Now the other job. But
it was not a small job. Like, I did the fries. I mean, yes.
Okay, for a
but
small
I did.
period of time. But then let me ask about a big job.
Why would you lie about working at McDonald's? Like,
I don't
McDonald's
know
says
why
you
you would
never
do that.
worked there. I understand people pad their resume all the time, but not typically when you're running for president of the United States. That seems like a weird thing to lie about, that you used to work at McDonald's.
Yeah. That's true. It's a relation, like to try to relate tactic. But again, if you're lying, that's a problem.
It's a huge problem. So I don't know why. Just let this story die. Did you ever work at McDonald's? Yeah, I think so. And change the subject. I don't know why you're doubling down on this when McDonald's already said, nope, she never worked here. In Ontario, we're back. The results from the EQAO test are in. Those are the standardized tests that every student writes in grades 3, 6, and 10. I don't think we did very well.
No.
I don't think they're bragging about it, but I also don't think that we should. The EQAO results released yesterday say for grade 3 students, 71% met the provincial standard in reading. That's down from last year. 64% met the standard in writing. That's down from last year. For students in grades 6, 82% met the provincial standard in reading, down 2 points from last year. 80% met the standard in writing, but that's down from 84% last year. Why are we seem to be losing ground here in the battle to educate people?
I know. I would have said this is a COVID thing. If it wasn't last year was better than this year. Like, that's a problem.
How is this happening?
Yeah.
We've got the best educators in the world here. How are scores getting lower? There was an improvement, though. Let's point out the good with the bad. Results from the literacy test, maybe I should take it, literacy test in grade 10 show 85% of students were successful, the same share as last year. So it didn't drop. We would hope that in 10th grade, most people could pass a literacy test. But even at that, 85% seems like a low number. It should be more like 100%.
Yeah.
Save a couple of kids here and there that screwed up or didn't go to class. How is only 85% in the 10th grade meeting our minimum literacy standards?
And I'm not blaming teachers on this at all. I'm going to say teachers have zero to do with it. I'm going to say a lot of the, I understand it all depends on the people. There are legitimately people with learning disabilities that are not even diagnosed. I think we can all agree with that, right? Mm-hmm. Even when you look back in high school and you think, okay, there's probably a lot of people there that should have had better supports. And the problem with right now is there's not enough people to help support. In a classroom alone, there's teachers who are doing their best to keep up. I know this, whether elementary school or high school. It's got to be the case. But I'm going to go back to, for me, I think it's got to start at home too. It's got to be at home. Hopefully kids are encouraged to, even if I'm shitty at math, for example. Like when it comes time for that math test, I'm going to have to get a tutor. I'm going to do it, like for sure. I make sure that my kids are where they're supposed to be. But that's not easy for everybody. That's not one of those things that everybody can do quickly and easily, right?
One of the things that happens in radio, friends, so you know, is a couple of times a year they put out what's called the ratings. And that's how we know how many people are listening. So we have to sit there and look at where we were strong and where we were weak and ask ourselves, how could we get better here and how we could get better there? Do teachers have to sit down and debrief on these standardized test results? Does the principal sit down with them and say, hey, only 70% of your 6th graders passed the literacy test. Maybe we should put a little more time into literacy. Maybe we should tweak the way we're teaching it. Are you doing something different than what they say we should be doing? Because 70% seems like an abysmal result.
Yeah, it does.
And is anybody reviewing this with the teacher? Does the teacher even know, hey, across the province, 70% literacy, but your class, 99%. Good for you. They should get a bonus. If you get a test result, your class came in at 70%?
I'm going to stop there. No, because especially at this time in the year, they weren't in your class last year. You didn't teach them your entire life.
These are last year's results.
Okay. It does. Yeah, I know, but you can't. I know. I see. If there's a teacher that by all means is getting failing students year after year after year, that looks bad on them for sure.
Sure.
But you can't assume that it was something that they did right or wrong when, again, there is such a spectrum of children in each classroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I have a hard time believing that 7 out of 10 is an accomplishment in a province this big. I don't understand how only 70% of students can meet the minimum threshold for literacy.
I don't know where it was at when I did it, like my class, for example, or my year that I got it done. How far back can we look? Because is that a normal number? Like, I couldn't tell you. Like, maybe that probably makes sense. I know a lot of adults, a lot of 40-somethings. I've seen their posts on Facebook. They don't know grammar. They don't know punctuation. I guarantee you they were in the mix of the people who didn't do too well. Right? Just being honest. So I don't imagine that number is drastically down from 10, 20 years ago. I think there's just some people who are not as good at it as others.
I don't know. I read that personally, and I consider that a failure. 70% is not a strong number.
I think we've been a failure, though. You can't look around and think that we're not a failure when you see pure, straight up adults in roles that are quite good sending off emails that don't make any fucking sense. You know that's true.
To me, this is nothing but an ad for it's really time to consider
it's bad.
Private school, I think.
Well, it's not good, yeah.
71% met the provincial standard in reading for grade 3
Yeah,
students.
I think for me, like I totally, I agree. It's not good, but I didn't have my expectations that high. Nor with math do I. I think we could do better. I would love to, and private. That sounds great. Not everybody can afford that, but it does sound wonderful.
Did your parents ever throw out anything after you moved out that you wanted?
I don't think so.
Really? I think I've told this story. When I moved out, don't know why I left them behind. Probably just they were in a box in the basement somewhere. I had the ultimate collection when I was growing up of G.I. Joes.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, you do talk about these a lot. They were probably worth a lot of money.
They were worth a lot of money,
right?
My mom paid a lot individually for all of those action figures and the jet and the truck, and I had it all. I had the whole G.I. Joe collection, all of them. It was amazing. And then one day I said, "Hey, Mom, where are all my G.I. Joes?" She's like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure," and walked away. That was her way of saying I threw them out or I gave them away.
Yeah.
As an adult, I would still like to have those G.I. Joes. I could have taught my son the real way to play with toys instead of the shit that they use now, iPads and such.
So funny too, because every parent is different. Like my parents kept a little bit for us. My husband's parents kept a lot of stuff to the point where they're still bringing stuff to our house that our kids should play with.
Oh boy.
You know what I mean? So I feel like there's different kinds. I might be the type to throw out too. You don't collect it when you get out of this house. I might throw it away.
A 20-year-old is suing his elderly mother after the mother threw away his collection of comic books. He took her to court and sued his mother because she threw things out of her own house. But they did belong to him.
Wow.
The district court recently issued a verdict in this case, fining the mother, but only about $200 for property damage. I think they valued each comic at like $1, even though they were probably worth more than $1 each. But how do you prove that?
Right.
In fact, we don't even have the evidence anymore.
Right. You don't know what condition they were in, for example, which plays a huge role in how much money it will get.
I wonder how many people just got a real interesting idea. You know, I used to have a waterbed, and my mom threw it out. I'm going to sue her. I'm going to sue my parents because they threw out my old stuff.
Don't waste the court's time with that shit, please. Please, I beg of you.
People on social media, this is a great Reddit thread, sharing simple pieces of advice that have significantly improved their life.
Oh, I like this. Let's do this.
Some of these don't make any sense at all.
Oh, really?
You know, this reminds me of why I hate the internet sometimes. Because some people will find these things and they'll make them into a meme, or they'll find a meme with it on it. And that's great that you shared it. And maybe it even seems really, really prolific when you post it, but it doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
Like this one here. If you can't beat the fear, do it scared.
Oh, okay.
Or just don't do it. If you're afraid to do it, don't do it. Okay. I am afraid of needles. I would rather just skip it and not do it rather than go in there and be terrified for an hour while they're trying to find a vein. No.
He's had chickenpox 9 times, guys. He just won't take the needle. I kid.
They say it's better to ask stupid than do stupid. In other words, ask a dumb question rather than do the dumb thing and have to explain why you did that dumb thing and didn't ask about it.
Right.
Again, though, there's a big stigma around asking stupid questions.
Yeah.
How many people roll their eyes when some asshole in the room asks a dumb question?
Yeah. And especially when they start with, this might be a dumb question, but you're like, yep, probably is.
Tell me if this one is good. Never accept criticism from someone you wouldn't accept advice from.
Yeah. I mean, that goes along the same vein of, why would you ask for advice from someone who, in that area of their life, you don't look up to in one way, shape, or form? Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, why would you go asking love advice from someone who hates their relationship and has cheated on their partner? For example, like, why would you go up and ask for that, right? So it's the same kind of thing. Like, don't ask for business or career advice from someone who switched careers 15 times and got fired 9 times, right? I think that's just common sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
Right. Okay.
I don't even really know what they're trying to say. It's kind of a labored metaphor.
Okay. Yes. That's a lot of words. But basically, I think they're saying if you start setting those roots now, you're going to look back in 5-10 years and be glad that you did. Right. As opposed to, I wish I would have done it a while ago. You could start today. And then 5-10 years from now, you'll be happy. Like, you know what I mean? In general.
Is that what that means?
I think so. Like, that's what I took from it.
Boy,
but
I was really struggling to figure out what the point was.
That's what I took from it, but I don't think it was that poignantly put.
Kat, don't light yourself on fire. To keep others warm.
Oh, I've heard this one before. I've never said it for the record. I want to make that perfectly clear. But I have heard someone say that before. You know when someone hears one like that, then they use it because they heard it, and you could tell they heard it from someone else, and they're like, I'm not going to set myself on fire to keep them warm. And then they give you a look like, wasn't that cool? And then you're just like, oh, okay.
Why would you light yourself? Never mind.
Basically, it's. Do you want me to tell you what it means?
Tell me.
Basically, it's a way of making yourself look bad to make others look good, like sacrificing something of your own self. Basically, you're burning yourself down, you're hurting yourself just to make someone else feel a certain way.
Okay.
Taking all the negativity off someone else to try to make them feel better about something.
But why wouldn't you just say that? Why do you have to go with this metaphor about lighting
Like I
on
said,
fire and stuff?
People love these wordy things.
It's all it is word porn.
Yeah, exactly.
The biggest lie we tell ourselves every day is, I don't need to write that down. I'll remember it. I don't know. Some people are just fine at remembering their day-to-day activities.
Yeah.
I didn't know that we needed that.
I don't know, that's not very deep.
What about this one? Don't argue with idiots. The best result you can hope for is that you won an argument with an idiot. I mean, I try to live by that.
Okay.
I encounter idiots all the time.
Yeah.
I always hear them out, though. I don't instantly write them off because I think they've got an idiotic opinion.
Right.
Instead of using a plain chocolate bar when making s'mores, use a peanut butter cup. What are they trying to say there?
Is that literally just about s'mores? Like, that to me just sounds like...
It sounds like an ad.
It does sound like an ad. Like, yeah, you tried something different. Cool, good for you.
Dress it up. Make it more. Is that what they're going for?
I guess.
Chocolate and peanut butter is better than chocolate? I can't figure out the reference. I'm not quite sure what they're talking about.
Cool, man.
You do you.
You do you. That falls under that category.
By the way, you do you is one of the most fuck you things that you can say.
Oh, it's totally you do you, man. Like, that's in other words, I fucking hate that idea, but fine. You go do it, loser.
It's true. It's so true. Google has announced they're going to crack down on fake business reviews being posted on their platform. Fake reviews are used by businesses to make themselves look more appealing on Google Maps, or by people looking to make a business look worse than it is. I find it's a bit of both, and both are a problem because I'm someone, and maybe I'm naive for doing this, I assume that real people wrote those reviews, and I base my decision to go there or buy that on those reviews. I hate the thought that the company grabbed 10 friends at a house party one night and said, okay, everybody go on my Google and write something nice about our business.
So I'll tell you what I frickin' hate that happens way too often out there too. And maybe they do deserve high praise for their business. But I went to a gym once where in the bathroom there was this posting, like the sign. Sign up now for Google reviews, give us a 5-star review, and monthly you could win a gift card for their gym store, if you will. So basically, they're going to force you to give it 5 stars, even though maybe you would have given it 4, 3, 2. Maybe you don't. Maybe you freaking hate that place, but you're going anyway. Can we, that's buying people. Is that allowed?
I don't think you should be able to pay for a review.
I don't think so either. That's just straight up saying, give us a 5-star. And I guess there's no rules around that either. I'd like them to crack down on that. It was literally in there for everyone to see. I almost wanted to take a picture of it and put it on a review and say, don't put me in for the draw, but this is crazy, guys. This is the reason why this place has close to a 5-star review, just because they put this up on the wall. It's the stupidest thing.
Incentivizing positive reviews is not good. I understand why businesses do it, though.
Yeah, because there's no rules against it now.
Right. There's also, though, no shortage of people who weaponize those reviews, including competitors. There's competitors who will sit around in their office because they're not busy, trying to bring down the businesses that are busy, and that's not right either.
No, it's not. There's so many question marks when it comes to reviews, to the point where I do question it for some businesses. I think most people do too. They go off of what recommendations from people. I think that seriously is still the best way to get a review. Hey, have you tried this restaurant? It was really good. I'd rather that. I don't trust Google for those reasons, because I don't know who's behind those reviews and what kind of person they are. That's another thing I'd like to add to the equation. We all have people in our life maybe where their expectations are way too high in life. So they might go into a place, let's say they stay at a hotel. Let's say it's a nice hotel.
Great example.
So you stay there and you're like, holy cow, it was clean, the service was excellent, and good restaurants in there, and everything was fine and dandy. I loved it. I'll probably go back. The next person that comes in could think that they're staying at the Ritz-Carlton and they're George Clooney. So their expectations are that the menu goes all the way through the night, and where's their cleaning service in the middle of the day, even though it never said that was part of the deal. Anyway, all these little expectations that these people have, they're kind of like in La La Land. So they're going to write a bad review because their expectations were whack.
I find, and I don't want to single anybody out or attack anybody here, but the people who are the most critical when it comes to travel are the people who don't travel very often. I can do my reviews based on where I'm staying. If I'm staying at a Courtyard Marriott, I have expectations for a Courtyard Marriott that it be as good or better than every other Courtyard Marriott that I've stayed at. I certainly don't go into the Courtyard Marriott expecting a service from the Westin.
Yeah,
and that's
right.
the problem. You get people who book a room at a Holiday Inn Express expecting turn-down service and a chocolate on the pillow.
It's true.
And that's an unrealistic expectation from a Holiday Inn Express. That's why the Westin costs $700 a night, and the Holiday Inn's about $150.
Yeah. See, and this is one of the reasons why, because you don't know who's on the other end of that review. So I have little trust when it comes to Google reviews as is. If this is one thing that they can do to change it, to improve it, by all means, we're welcome to changing and improving things. However, just take it all with a grain of salt still.
They say Google is going to temporarily remove or block profiles suspected of posting misleading reviews and add warnings next to accounts that have had multiple reviews taken down. Users will be able to appeal each decision. Google Court. I would love to be a judge in Google Court. I want to hear, why did you write that review and was it true?
Imagine you'd have like this multicolored outfit, cloak that you have to wear as a Google judge.
Right, because you can't wear the black, white, and red. That's for real judges.
No, you got to wear the red dot. You look like a package of Wonder Bread going into court.
It's time already. We got to go, everyone. Again, we are off on Monday, but there might be a short solo episode of After 9 available for you on the 30th of September, which is Monday.
Think you're going to unleash?
Maybe.
Think you need to I think that you deserve a little unleashing.
You know what?
There's too much going on right now.
There's a lot going on. You know what I really want to talk about, though? And maybe I'll do this for this weekend. Did you see what happened this week when somebody in the House of Commons suggested that when Justin Trudeau was in New York, he was sharing a bathtub with Tom Clark, the envoy to New York?
What?
He suggested when you and Tom were in the tub together having a meeting, and it blew up. Then the prime minister had to try and he got called out for using unethical language. He said shit in the House. And
did he say shit?
He said shit.
Oh, I thought it was crap. He actually said shit?
He said shit the first time, and then he had to walk it back, and he said defecation. And, I mean, that wasn't the right word to use either, Justin. So, I mean, all this shit needs to be discussed, and I will do that.
Fantastic.
Have a great long weekend if you've got one. Regular weekend for everybody else. The message is, let's remember the reason that we have Truth and Reconciliation Day. It was one of the formal recommendations from the Truth and Reconciliation Report, and we're doing a day to listen on the radio. We will be listening at home, and I'm going to hound those pricks at Unico to get a Haudenosaunee flag on the emoji.
We will work on that for sure for Monday. Tuesday on the Scott and Kat Show, on our radio show in the morning specifically. So that's Energy 95.3 and 91.5 The Beat. We have a new contest starting called Cash Rally. It's your chance to win cash money. You can win up to $500. It's a lot of fun. Like the game of categories, but you're playing against another listener. So please join us on Tuesday there. Have a good one.
Researchers in New Zealand have discovered a new species of shark called the narrow-nosed spookfish. Said the shark, hey, what the hell, man?
In beverage news, Coca-Cola has discontinued its spicy flavor after just 6 months. No, not spiced Coca-Cola, the thing we all tried. Who can forget their slogan, no one asked for this.
Batman became the first superhero to get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Not the actors who played Batman, the character Batman got a star. Batman's star is located right on the corner here, not far from where his parents were murdered.
Get this, Southwest Airlines stock is skyrocketing after laying out their plan to offer assigned seats, extra legroom, and red-eye flights. Yeah, they're really classing it up. They might even start splurging for name-brand duct tape.